with a lot of their tech, but they're like getting into the Solana ecosystem and starting to write smart contracts is really difficult. There's a lot of like weird stuff about how the account model works. I think it'll probably take me like 2 to 3 months to get to a point where I'm comfortable building like real products there. And with Soroban, I think it took me like I had to learn Rust, so that took a little bit, but it took me like a week or something. I don't know. It was really easy. So that's probably the pitch. And then what was the other part of the question?
Oh, what do we mess up? What can we do better at? What's missing?
Oh, can you guys raise the resource limits?
Yes, I think
That is like
that's
by far the most stressful part.
yeah, yeah. No, I
And I know they're going up over time, but yeah,
yeah,
that's
they
the part.
they will go up over time, but it's one of those things, right? We have this trade-off where
Yeah,
we're doing this delicate dance where we're building this thing attached to an existing network at scale, and then also, we've got this sort of philosophical like approach that we want to make sure that the validators can be run on relatively resource constrained machines. Um, and so it's but I think like a lot of the optimization stuff that I've seen in some of the testing, I mean, I think that we'll be able to raise resource limits as needed for a while. So I think so I think more to come there, but I don't think that is going to be too hard of a lift for us.
I think you guys should go the orbit lens route and do a hard fork and kill all the historical state from like 2016.
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah,
we'll have to put that one up for a broader
yeah,
discussion. I mean,
yeah.
you know, we there's all these things that we've got to consider about not even just about that, but like, yeah, I would love to have state expiration for all these claimable balances that are sitting on the ledger and all these other things, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that the history is permanent, and it's like making a mistake as a teenager, and it being on the internet forever, right? It's that sort of burden we've got to carry. So,
Do you, just out of curiosity, do you know how many dead orders are in the order book? Like orders that will never be filled because like the pair is dead?
I do not know that. Do you?
No, I don't. I was just curious because I feel like that's got to be almost a larger number than claimable balances, and I think they have around the same in terms of like how they're indexed. It looks like they're probably around the same level of storage requirements. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is like I'm not an engineer at this level.
Yeah, no, I've seen the claimable balances one data, but I haven't seen the like inactive like order entries. Um, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Um,
the orbit lens thing is mostly it's like kind of a little tongue in cheek. I haven't even started thinking about the second order effects there. I've just heard him pitch it to me, and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, Orbit's I love Orbit and his because he pushes like he's always willing to ask the hard questions, and he's not
Yeah.
shy about sharing his opinion, which I appreciate, and I think the whole team does, right? Like we're not easily offended, and so we want to hear from people. We want you to tell us when we're being stupid, and when we're going down the wrong path.
Hmm.
Because it makes our lives easier, our jobs easier, because we want to build the right things. And if you just sort of nod along and say, yeah, okay, like you sort of like just bite your tongue, then we end up with suboptimal outcomes that we have to clean up later, and nobody wants that.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess the part that was missing out from my pitch is it is really awesome to see how engaged the dev team at SDF has been with the community as Sorbonne has gone live. I don't think I can name a single other like yeah, not like one other ecosystem where you can like hop in a Discord and start a thread with a question and you'll get like two answers from two different core devs in under a day.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think everyone on the team's both excited about building Sorbonne, but also the community engagement piece is a two-way street, right? Um, everyone who's like working hard on something, building something, um, loves to hear feedback from people about what they're building, get input about how it could be better, and when people ask questions, I always sort of highlight to folks that like what that really is an opportunity for us to figure out how we could explain something better, or make that simpler for people, because we have this habit in Stellar, in the ecosystem, of like coming up with our own names for things, or not like thinking we've invented something, but really just like we're really proud of the stuff that we built. We really think it's different and it's unique, but doesn't mean that we need to call it something different. We can just it can be a better version of the thing that people already call it. And so sometimes we confuse people with the way that we name things and or label things and stuff like that. And so these are all opportunities for us to just get better, to because the thing that I am constantly thinking about is, like we've got this ecosystem, it's growing, but there are an existing ecosystem who sort of knows the Stellar nomenclature. But if we're going to be successful, we got to onboard a lot more people, a lot more developers, a lot more teams, a lot more companies building on asset issuers, all of it. And so, if you fast forward 10 years to the future state where, Stellar is hyper successful as a network and Sorbonne is, hyper successful as a smart contract platform, the vast majority of people that will be participating in that aren't here yet. And so, every one of those opportunities that we get for feedback now is like somebody in the future who is going to have like an even better time, right? Like if you think about all this, the tooling and stuff and testing and all of the stuff you highlighted as benefits, like all of that is maybe most of that code is written by, core engineers at SDF, but all of those things exist because of feedback that we got from these early adopters, users like you guys and other folks in the Discord, other devs that are building. That's has shaped the tooling and capabilities that we've built. They're directly in response to that feedback, and so like in many ways, it's the contribution of the community reflected in that. And so it is like a team effort or whatever you want to call it, but so like keep it up is what I would say to folks that are thinking about building. Like we value that stuff immensely, and you're not just doing it for your we're not just helping you to help you, and you're not just asking your question to solve your problem. You're actually making it better for the next person, the next dev team, and so on. And so this we're all contributors to this process and this journey.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Uh, that whole spiel about naming just reminded me of like there's like a Dan Robinson cap from like 2017 just requesting that you rename Trustline to Balance.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, and my favorite is like we talk about anchors like they're like the definition of what an anchor is on the network has been a moving target in the Stellar community for the entire 5 years I've been here. So, and it lo and behold, it's actually a term in economics, right? It is actually a label for an issuer in classical economics, not an on and off ramp, or somebody who exchanges it. So,
Yeah, I had like I thought you came up with that one.
yeah, but so we're coming up on time here, but so I want to ask you a couple more questions. Um, the, I think the most important one is like, so what's next for you all, right? You said the protocol isn't upgradable, um, but I mean, are you guys planning to add features or functionality to it somehow?
One thing that I do really want to do is we like the architecture for or the setup for our pool and how you interact with it is like actually really cool. The way that it works is when a user wants to do something with a pool, they call the submit function, which is just intakes an array of requests. So that can be like lend, borrow, borrow again, lend again. It's like an arbitrary length list of requests, and then we just verify that your health factor is valid at the end of it, and then take whatever the delta is between like your supplied funds and borrowed funds, and send you the funds you're owed, and pull the funds that we need from your account, right? So currently our UI doesn't support that at all. Currently our UI is just like as simple as can be, as familiar as can be, one action at a time. Everybody knows how it works, right? So we at some point are going to add update the UI or add like a pro version of the UI that takes more advantage of that. So it allows you to like bundle multiple actions together, and allows you to like get into your leverage position or like lend and borrow against your XLM in one click. So that's one big thing. And then
Sorry, well,
the
let me ask a question there. Are you going to expose that? Because that sounds like almost like a half step to a DeFi saver type use case, right? Where you would
Yeah,
bundle a bunch of transactions together, but will you expose that for, I guess it's composable, so other folks could build that into like automations, for example. So I could, have a
yeah,
keeper that like retops me up and does some sort of complex steps.
yeah. No, absolutely. That's all exposed. You can build on top of that. The one thing that's missing there, which I'm hoping gets added in Blend V2. We didn't add it right now because there just wasn't enough like use for it. But I would like to see hooks introduced, or where pools can just like introduce arbitrary calls as part of that request stack, because that would allow people to do stuff like borrow, then swap, then redeposit all in one click. But just because all the liquidities, and this is like one of the reasons that one day I would love Classic to be more composable with Soroban, because like all the liquidity is on Classic right now. There's not much liquidity yet on Soroban, so like building a hook feature when we don't even know if there will be uh, like significant liquidity on Soroban for like swaps, just seemed like we were introducing a big risk vector for very little gain. But at some point, like down the line, if Blend V2 comes out, contracts aren't upgradable, but like you can switch to a new version of the protocol by redirecting emissions to the new version. The old protocol will still be live and everything. You can still keep using it, but there will be like a V2 version of it. I would like to see hooks added so you can get like the full DeFi Saver experience. Because right now, like that experience would pretty much just be limited to like lend, borrow, and like maybe you're repaying a different position that you had open in the pool all in one click.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then I guess the final question I'd ask you is, I know we've chatted about this in the past, right? When talking about like ecosystem growth and things like that. But you've mentioned to me that there are features that when you guys were designing the original version of the protocol, maybe this is the hooks thing, but maybe it's something else. That you said the ecosystem like just wasn't ready for yet. So can you give us a sneak peek at what some of those like farther out features might be?
Yeah, that was primarily the hooks one, but I mean, we don't might not even implement it via hooks. We might implement it via uh, like a callback setup, but I actually don't know if callbacks work on Soroban because you have no reentrancy. I mean, there might be some models that work, but yeah, we want to make it so you can more richly interact with the pool with more like custom, custom like smart contract behavior. So that's definitely one. I think what were the other ones? I think there was at least one more. Um, Blanking on it. That was the really big one that we like thought would be really cool, but we cut it. And then there was some other stuff like we did want pools to be composable with each other, so you'd have like remember how I was describing the vec of requests? You could have
Mm-hmm.
requests for different pools, so it would make it really easy to like shift money between pools all in one click. That's something that we also considered, but it was just too early in the ecosystem to actually like set it up that way yet. So a Blend V2 would hopefully support that. I don't know. This is not confirming Blend V2. I don't know if we'll ever do Blend V2. It might be a different team. It might be something that we just like help with. It might just never happen. So no confirmation there. Don't go tell people that I'm building Blend V2.
Yeah, well, you guys, like we'll see how well received Blend is in the ecosystem. So far, so good though. And I guess
Mm-hmm.
one other question I'd ask you is that there's a lot of folks here in the space, and then also that'll probably listen to this afterwards. Um, if folks are interested in this protocol, like who do you think should be taking a deeper look at building with this right now? Who do you want to engage with? How does the ecosystem support this? What's the how do we engage and support Blend?
Um, yeah, I mean, I like if you literally anyone in the ecosystem, if you have at any point any desire to offer borrowing as part of your protocol, as part of your product, or even lending as part of your wallet, um, you want an interest rate product in your wallet, anything like that, or you have a stable coin that you want people to be able to lend or borrow or whatever, just come like hop into the Discord and ping us. don't roll that solution yourself. It'll be a lot easier